It's time for this week's Economy Matters with Christoph Schumacher. Christoph, you're expecting the Reserve Bank to hold interest rates higher for longer. Why is that?
Simply because inflation isn't as low as we would like it to be. I mean, at face value, the current or the latest 4.3% sounds good, given that we started off at about 7.2% not too long ago. But if we actually take a closer look at what it means for our economy and the fact that inflation is a combined product of tradable and non-tradable inflation, then unfortunately, the non-tradable inflation, which indicates what's really happening in our economy, because it only includes products that we don't export or import. And that non-tradable inflation actually sits close to still 6%, which might be just too high for the Reserve Bank to lower the OCR.
Well, let's delve a bit deeper into that. So, non tradable means the domestic component of inflation, and that's what's been described as sticky.
Absolutely right. We have inflation in two areas. One is the tradable. These are all the goods we either import to New Zealand, and that means we might import inflation from overseas. If prices overseas get higher and we buy these products, they are more expensive in New Zealand. But it also means products we export, because if somebody can sell a product for a higher price overseas, they charge this higher price in New Zealand as well. So that's the tradable part. But then, as you rightly pointed out, there's a non-tradable part, and that's only the products we produce and sell here in New Zealand. That's your things such as your hairdresser, your medical appointments, your gym, government services, everything that is just produced and used here in New Zealand and is not traded and not exposed to international prices. And that's the part that makes up 60% of our inflation value, roughly. And that really shows us whether there's a shortage or excess supply within our economy, because that just focuses on New Zealand consumption and production.
And Stance NZ has certainly pointed out on the non tradable side, construction and rents as being high still.
Absolutely. That's what you said. It's still sticky, because if we look at the tradable part, it's down to about 3%. So that would be fantastic, because it's within almost the band that the Reserve Bank wants to be. But the close to 6% of non-tradable inflation is way too high and far off the target midpoint of 2% we want to have in New Zealand. And that's why the Reserve Bank will be unlikely to reduce the OCR, and has expressed this actually quite clearly. The chief economist came out not long ago, gave a webinar, and made very clear that the hawkish stand of the Reserve Bank will continue in 2024, which is a bit different what we heard about a year ago, when there was sort of hope that the OCR will come down in early 24 or during 24.
But what's the outlook for the tradable side, though, given pressures in the Red Sea, global supply chain issues?
That's another biggie at the moment. Shipments through the Suez Canal, which comprises a large component of international trade, is down by more than 50%. So the world is just about to wait for a global supply chain problem and disruption. And that, of course, would filter back to New Zealand. If there's a shortage of products coming in, that puts pressure on local prices as well, and might push up our tradable component part as well. So there's a double whammy at the moment. We have sticky local inflation and an expectation that tradable inflation might also go up. So 24 will not be an easy year for the Reserve Bank in relation to inflation.
So, will inflation trickle down into the target band this year then?
I absolutely think so. We don't know yet what will happen globally, but if those supply chain disruptions filter through, that will have an impact. And on top of it, we have seen absolutely record migration numbers into New Zealand last year. That was the largest number we've ever seen. So there's more people right now coming and settling in New Zealand. Fewer are leaving. And that, of course, means local demand will go up. These people want to buy dishwashers, cars, whiteware need food, and so on. So that will also put pressure on prices within New Zealand.
What are the risks that the official cash rate goes higher?
Yes, there are actually now speculation. And if you look what some of the economists, mainly of the banks, say, they actually predict a potential rise in the first half of this year. So yes, big shock to the system. Not only don't we see or won't we probably see the reduction in the OCR, but it might actually still go a bit up. And that simply would be the response of the Reserve Bank, because it made it very, very clear it will rise the OCR until we are closer to that target level and the economy is safe from overheating.
So you expecting a hawkish statement later this month?
Yes, absolutely. It came through in the recent statements, and I can't see anything happening right now that would change the view of the Reserve Bank.
Christoph Schumacher, thanks for your time.
For more content just like this and all the latest business and political news, head over to mbr.co.nz.